Happy Sunday. Welcome into the Bengals Breakdown. I'm Abby Alonzo. It is Sunday. The draft has wrapped up. Day 3 finished up yesterday. It's been a long weekend, but here I am on Sunday making sure you know about the Bengals UDFA signings. They've made 9. They have room for, I believe, 6 more. They can fill 15 more spots, but we're going to tell you about these 9 right here. Calvin Tyler Jr., running back out of Utah State. Shedrick Jackson, wide receiver out of Auburn. That's Bo Jackson's nephew, by the way. Christian Trahan, or as we say down here in New Orleans, or in Louisiana, Trahan. Tight end out of Houston, Devonnsha. Maxwell, defensive lineman out of Chattanooga. Jaxson Kirkland, offensive guard out of Washington. Larry Brooks, safety out of Tulane. Jaylen Moody, linebacker out of Alabama. Jacob Saylors, running back out of East Tennessee State. And Shaka Heyward, linebacker out of Duke. That is also Cam Heyward's cousin, Steelers player. I like making the connections. I'm sure other people do too. We're going to tell you a little bit more about these guys, but before we do, make sure you hit the sub button. We have had constant coverage coming at you throughout the entire draft. We're here on a Sunday when everybody else is kind of taking a break now that we've worked relentless hours and gotten barely any sleep. We're still here in the office making sure that you guys are getting coverage on the UDFA signings. We're dedicated. We keep you entertained and informed. Hit the sub button. Let's grow the channel. Let me tell you a little bit about these guys, who they are. Now, remember, a lot of these guys are UDFAs. Obviously, they're UDFAs, but we don't have too much information on them in our information systems or in our database. So I had to do some scouting this morning, meaning my notes are on my computer. So if you see me looking down, that's what I'm doing. I'm looking at the notes I took earlier. We'll start off with Jaxson Kirkland, offensive guard out of Washington. He earned 3rd team AP All-American and 1st team All Pac-12 honors this past season, while not allowing a single sack in 491 pass blocking snaps. Pretty good move. Now, obviously, the Bengals did not address the O-line in the draft, which a lot of people were kind of questioning a little bit, but that tells me that yes, that Jonah Williams will still be on the roster. Lael Collins will make his comeback. They just added Cody Ford. So they think they're in good shape. I think this is a depth move. Way to do it is in UDFA. Good move. Larry Brooks, safety out of Tulane. In his career, he's had 212 tackles, 9 interceptions, so good ball skills. In 2023, his PFF grades were 75.3 overall, a 72.3 on run defense, and a 77 in coverage. That is Larry Brooks. Again, just a few nuggets on these guys. We'll have more as more comes out, but we're going to make sure that you are updated right when it happens. Jaylen Moody, linebacker out of Alabama. He started the first 5 games last season before suffering a bruised kidney that actually caused him to miss the Texas A&M game. I think that was in October. He returned in a reserve role against Tennessee, and then his season ended because he had a shoulder injury. So there's a few injuries here that have kind of kept him from really taking on a starting role. It seems like whenever he got a chance, kind of got hurt, went into a reserve role. Hasn't really got his footing there. He was invited to the Senior Bowl, but he did not play. Jacob Saylors, running back, East Tennessee State. The running back move, again, you did draft Chase Brown. You got a running back. This is kind of a depth piece. Samaje Perine is no longer a Bengal. Joe Mixon is for now. So they're going out to grab some guys that maybe could be the future. This is probably a depth move, maybe kind of develop him, see what he can do for the team. He did get a $10,000 signing bonus. He is 5'11". He ended this past season with 226 rushing attempts and 1,314 yards, a 5.8 yards per carry average, and his longest run was 56 yards. He's a capable receiver. He actually had 21 receptions for 159 yards this past season, 15 rushing touchdowns, and not a single fumble in his career, which tells you pretty good at protecting the football, which I'm sure the Bengals absolutely love. Good little pickup here, kind of a sneaky grab, but you tend to get these guys in UDFA signings. Another little nugget for you overall, I think about a fourth of the active NFL players now were UDFAs. So again, these guys could come up, have a really major role on Cincinnati's roster or in their lineup. I like Jacob Saylors. I think that's a good pickup. Who is your favorite UDFA? Let me know down in the comment section who you think the Bengals really got a steal on out of the guys they have already signed, these 9 players. Moving on with Calvin Tyler Jr., another running back out of Utah State. Let's see, where we got him, right here. Here we go. 2022, he played in 13 games. He had 1,122 rushing yards, 253 carries, 7 touchdowns, 15 catches for 129 yards, and a receiving touchdown. He had 6 100-yard rushing games, and he tied for the second most of those rushing yard games in the Mountain West. So another good little pickup. Kind of really, I think they're testing the waters here, seeing what they got, kind of going to see who makes the roster here. And they may make a decision on Joe Mixon based on what they picked up in UDFAs and Chase Brown. I'm not saying Joe Mixon is out. He's no longer, I'm not saying that at all. There's a very good chance he could still play out the season. Just things are kind of up in the air, and you can tell by the way that they are going out to grab running backs. Shedrick Jackson, wide receiver out of Auburn. Again, Bo Jackson's nephew. Per the Draft Network, Shedrick Jackson checks the boxes as a height and weight receiver prospect. He is well portioned with a rocked up frame. He uses his frame to advantage versus smaller cornerbacks. His toughness shows as he works for yards after the catch. That's a good thing. He has good play strength and contact balance after the catch. He aligns as both the X and Z receiver for the Tigers offense. He sells his vertical stems well to stress defensive backs. As a result, it opens space underneath and creates effective double moves. He breaks at the top of his stem on comeback routes with solid hip sinkage to lose defenders. He alerts speed throughout his route stem to manipulate leverage. He locates and settles into the soft spots of zone coverage. He projects best as a possession receiver for an offense with run after catch potential. Good pickup for the Bengals to sum all of that up. It was a good signing. As far as receivers go, we talked about the fact that Tyler Boyd may not be on the roster next year. He is in his last year of his deal, and you've got really good receivers on the team that cost money. Jamar Chase needs to be paid. Joe Burrow has to be paid. He's about to get a bag. We see the quarterback market just skyrocketing, right? Joe Burrow's about to get a bag. Jamar Chase needs to be paid. You've got T. Higgins. I don't know that they extend Tyler Boyd, which is probably why they're going to get guys like Jackson and drafting receivers like Yoshivas later in the draft. Christian Trahan, tight end out of Houston. Draft Network also had a piece on him. He's a versatile tight end that plays multiple roles. He occasionally lines up as an outside receiver to take advantage of matchups. He'll also align as a slot receiver to give the quarterback a big target running the seam in the middle of the field. Couple other good things about him. He can also do a good job of selling runs with the play action style play and leak into the flats. This was a good one. I know a lot of people were not angry, but kind of confused on why the Bengals didn't draft a tight end. We talked about it. They're kind of looking towards defense on day 1 and day 2, and then they started adding depth on the offense on day 3. That tight end role, Irv Smith is on a 1-year prove-it deal. It looks like they are going to rock with him, and he's going to be tight end 1. This is a depth move, but also maybe a future move, depending on what he can do, how he can prove himself. Devonnsha Maxwell out of Chattanooga. Maxwell possesses slightly below average measurables relative to NFL interior defenders, but he's quick and strong for his size and is fairly skilled as a rusher. He doesn't play with the anchor or hand control to muddy gaps as a run defender, but he can disrupt the blocking scheme on the move. He's an instinctive pass rusher who sets up his counters and his athleticism to threaten an NFL pocket with more work. Maxwell could find a roster spot in one gapping scheme. Look, another defensive move. That defense was not in a bad place, but you saw a lot of guys leave. And yes, it was the secondary that saw a lot of guys leave, but the defense works as a whole, okay? And they needed to kind of, okay, we're almost revamping a little bit. We got to rework this thing. and they targeted those positions with Myles Murphy on day 1, went out and fixed the secondary on day 2 with DJ Turner and Jordan Battle, and now they're adding some more depth in UDFAs, and that's what UDFA signings are. It's really just depth moves and let's see what you got, come prove yourself kind of thing. Another defensive move in Shaka Heyward, Cam Heyward's cousin. He's actually a good comp for Jermaine Pratt, and there's some stats that I want to compare the two. Over the 2 final college ACC seasons for Heyward and Jermaine Pratt, whom you guys are familiar with, obviously. Heyward had 192 tackles. Pratt had 173. Heyward had 17.5 tackles for loss. Pratt had 15.5. Heyward had 5 sacks. Pratt had 6 sacks. And Heyward had 3 interceptions, and Pratt had 2. So we saw how Jermaine Pratt played out, and Heyward had better stats than him in his last 2 seasons in the ACC. So if that tells you anything, I think you got a good pickup right here. Grade the Bengals UDFAs down in the comment section. Let me know, again, who was your favorite? How do you feel about the signings that the Bengals made already? Again, we're only 1 day fresh of the draft wrapping up, so there will be more moves, which is exactly why you should subscribe to the channel. Y'all, I am so tired. I can't wait to go to sleep. Anyway, hit the sub button. As always, we appreciate y'all for watching, for sticking around even when I can't speak on camera. We will see y'all soon.